Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my honor to yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from California, the ranking member of the Education and Workforce Committee, Mr. Miller.
Gentleman from California is recognized for 5 minutes.
I unanimously consent to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. 75 years ago, this nation decided as a matter of right and a matter of law that the decision of whether or not workers wanted a union belonged to those workers. And this Congress passed the National Labor Relations Act to give workers this right and an election to decide. Ever since that time, companies have fought to take away the right of the workers because they believe that the companies control all of the rights in the workplace. They believe that the workers should simply take and do as they say, and that's the end of the discussion. And this has been a battle throughout the economic history of this country since the passage of the National Labor Relations Act. But the fact of the matter is that when workers decide they want an organization, they go out and they talk to their fellow workers, they form a union, and they have an election. But what we now see is the companies constantly trying to insert themselves into that worker-controlled process by trying to disrupt the elections of those workers and trying to keep them from exercising their rights under the law. And this is the goal of this very anti-worker, anti-family legislation. It would end the collective bargaining rights for working people in this country because it would so skewer the process that you would never get to that election that workers are guaranteed under the law. This is Wisconsin and Ohio all wrapped up into one. This goes across the nation. What they can't do in the states where they don't control the governorship or the legislature, where they've made the attempt right after the election to take away workers' rights at work, where they can't do that, they now seek to do in the halls of Congress. To so change the process and to discriminate against the rights of workers so that, in fact, the process ceases to exist. How do they do that? They do that by having endless delays. Why are endless delays important to employers? So that they can hire union-busting law firms to come in and intimidate and teach employers how to intimidate workers, because don't forget that the employer has a right from the moment they're served notice to have captive meetings in the workplace where they threaten the workers with the loss of jobs, where they threaten the workers with being fired, where they threaten the workers for sending work to China or elsewhere, where they threaten the workers that they won't get the promotion, where they change the workers' shift time from maybe day shift to graveyard shift and keep rotating them around to show them that they're in control and the workers have no rights. And if you can do it for 7 days, you have a chance. If you can do it for 10 days, you have a better chance. If you can do it for as many as 2,000 days that these law firms have kept the process open, you can kill the drive for a union. You can intimidate the workers. How else do they do it? When workers decide among themselves that we want a unit within this company, within this factory, to represent us, this law now says, this bill now says that the employer can come in and rearrange the members of the unit that would have that election. They can stuff the ballot box. They can pick your candidates to stand for election. Doesn't sound very democratic to me, but that's what they get to do under this bill as it's proposed. The workers no longer get to decide as the law says they get to decide. The workers no longer get to decide as the Supreme Court says they get to decide. The employer gets to decide. The arrogance of these people to suggest that they should pick the leaders of the workers, that they should pick the organization of the workers who have a right to organize. So they get to delay the elections. They encourage and provide for and define the right to continue to file frivolous lawsuits so that this process never ends. You can bankrupt these workers if they try to run head on head with these big law firms that are specialized in this, that travel around the country to take away their rights at work. What does this mean? This means underpinning the basic organization in the American workplace today that speaks on behalf of the middle class. This is from the organizations that brought you the Great American Weekend. This is the organizations that brought you the 8-hour day. This is the organization that brought you overtime pay if you work longer than 8 hours. This is the organization that brought you sick leave. This is the organization that brought women their rights at work. This is the organization that makes safe workplaces. This is the organization that provided for the first time pensions and retirement benefits for workers. Any wonder why these corporations, why the Chamber of Commerce is so set against this? Because they don't want to do this anymore. They want to ship the jobs to China. They want no minimum wage. They want a sub-minimum wage. They want no rights at workers. How do the American families survive that? They've already offloaded all of the health care costs they possibly could. They've offloaded all of the pension costs they possibly could on the backs of these workers. Now they want to take away the rights to organize. We should not allow that to happen. Not in this country, not in this Congress. We should not allow that to happen to American workers and to their families. We should defeat this very anti-family piece of legislation.
Order.
Gentleman's time has expired.
I did yield an additional 30 seconds to the
In
gentleman from
support of
California.
regular order for 30 seconds, I'd like to remind the gentlewoman, when the vote came,
Gentleman's time has
I
expired.
yield additional 30 seconds.
there wasn't a single Republican vote for that in the Clinton era. Not a single Republican vote. Once again, you balked when it came time to fix the economy.
Mr. Speaker,
Gentleman's time has expired.